the drama in Wisconsin that came to the fore last Thursday? Yeah, I think it was last Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah, because we had Peter King as a guest on Thursday's show just at the time of him walking in. Ty Dunn's story on Bleach Report that had all sorts of juicy tidbits about Aaron Rodgers and the head coach and the front office and Ted Thompson. I have no idea what to make of it, but what's true and what's not. A lot was unnamed sources. Aaron Rodgers showed up for the off-season workout program and then went after the first day of the off-season workout program of new head coach Matt LaFleur. I guess he's speaking Wednesday. That's usually when he speaks. He speaks Wednesdays as a quarterback. He appeared on a local radio show. I want to get the name of the show right. Was it Wilder and Tausch? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I believe
okay.
So.
He's appeared locally with two local sports talk figures. And I want to, I guess, summarize the concept that he and Mike McCarthy had problems. He poo-pooed and, as a matter of fact, said that everybody needs to thank Mike McCarthy, certainly since he's still living in the area. If you see him, you should shake his hand. That the two of them had differences of opinion, just like anybody else. But I'm paraphrasing here. You can go check out. I'm sure there's stories about it everywhere. He also mentioned a story about Mike Murphy, the team president, telling him to not be a problem when he hired new head coach Matt LaFleur, called that 100% false. I think the one thing I want to play for you, just to show you the blowtorch that he put to this piece on Bleach Report, was when he talked about the two players who did put their names to something. Greg Jennings and former tight end Jermichael Finley. Now, Greg we've had on the show. We've not had Jermichael Finley on this program before. I didn't understand when, even in the conversations I've had with Greg, the depths of the animus he has towards Aaron Rodgers for a couple of moments. One thing that he did mention in the article was how Carlos Rodgers, they were playing against him, the 49ers, and Jennings was having his walk year coming up, and things apparently were not going so well. And Rodgers said something along the lines to Carlos Rodgers, if you want him next year. And Jennings took that to mean that Rodgers didn't want him around, or he didn't take it very well.
Right.
Could have been Rodgers being flippant and trying to be funny, but he's basically like thinking his quarterback was not rallying around him. And Jermichael Finley just hates Rodgers. I mean, that's been known. So I was kind of surprised, in all honesty, to see the depth of Jennings' animus laid bare in this article. But Jermichael Finley, that's not news. I figured to play this whole 98-second soundbite, as they say in the business, just to show you how Rodgers meticulously blowtorched this piece locally in Wisconsin yesterday.
My first, initial thought is, at what point did J. Mike think I was a bad leader? It couldn't have been when I was up in his room every Saturday night before the games, going over plays and talking about checks I was going to make and plays where he was going to be the number one read. It couldn't have been when I was at the hospital the night he broke his neck and spent a couple hours with him. Couldn't have been when I followed up and saw how he was doing. So when did this happen where he was like, oh, yeah, he's not a natural born leader? And with Greg, I don't even know what to say with Greg.
Does it bother you?
It bothers me that every time there's an article, it's the same two people. And if there's not an article about me, do you ever hear their name anywhere else? Do they get interviews with people? Are they out there making comments? Are they making the rounds on the shows? I would say probably not. Definitely not in the same capacity. So I would say, at what point do you move on? You talk about me being sensitive and petty. At what point do you move on or stop telling the same stories? Like, really? A conversation with Carlos Rodgers on the field making a joke about his situation? That's what you're going to hold on to? And, oh, yeah, I knew that I wasn't going to be a Packer next season. It's the same two people. It's the same story. At some point, you got to have something else to talk about.
Wilde and Tausch is the name. Pardon me for getting the name wrong. It's obviously a significant get at this point in time, and Rodgers giving them the get. He's a very wise man. He knows exactly what he's saying when he says it. He knows exactly that he gave two local guys a monster scoop. There's no other way to put it.
A counterpoint to that is, what about the guys who didn't put their name to it? They may not have attributed their comments, but they did say things about Rodgers.
Some of them might also not know. There was also another point in the again. I would counsel everybody to seek out what Aaron obviously we're not going to play the entire conversation in a show like this. Right. But Equiminius St. Brown, the young receiver, who in this piece it was said was running routes that Aaron told him to run to change the play from Mike McCarthy, and essentially covered for Rodgers going back to the sideline. Rodgers said he didn't change the play. It was a different defense that they both saw. He saw one defense. The kid saw a different one, ran a route that he thought, based on the defense, that Rodgers was going to throw it in a certain place. Kid went one way. Rodgers went to the spot where it was supposed to be and walked up to the kid on the sideline and corrected him. And Devontae Adams retweeted that today. You should seek out his Twitter, saying that's 100% accurate. So I'm not saying that, that the Bleacher Report reporter is getting it wrong. He's reporting what he's hearing. But what he's being told by somebody may not be actually the facts. What a crazy-ass story that is.
It's crazy.
And Rodgers' point is that if I hated McCarthy so much, why did I re-sign there? Why did he sign for a new deal there? Knowing that if he succeeded that year in his first year of his new contract, McCarthy would still be there. That's a good point, by the way. If you think that LeBron, say, does what he does to try and get whoever he likes coaching him, Aaron Rodgers has LeBron-type credentials in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, he could have got Mike McCarthy fired a long time ago.
He sure could have.
Yeah.
He sure could have looked at Mike Murphy and say, I don't like this guy. He gets massages during games. I have to change. Mike, you played football, which Mike Murphy did. Mike, do you know how many times I got to change the plays on this guy? Do you know how many times that I've had to do this? Mark Murphy. Did I say Mike Murphy? My gosh. Say, hey, Mark, do you know how many times I got to change plays on this guy? How many times? He could have easily done that. You want me to re-sign here in Green Bay? Or how about you try any of the other guys that Ted Thompson couldn't get to fill my jock when I was down? How about that, Mark? Instead, he signs on a dotted line. That's his point. He could have absolutely gotten Mike McCarthy out. Now, many people who don't put their names to it say he would have done that anyway. Or he did do that anyway.
Right.
And he did say that he lamented one of the times after a game that we all saw that he was passively aggressive.
Yeah.
Or passive-aggressively calling out his coach. But like I told you, he's there in Green Bay. He's signed. He's not going anywhere. They're not trading him no matter how much he hates it there or not. I'm not saying he does. I'm just giving you worst-case scenarios. He's not going anywhere. He's signed there. His last 6 to 7 years of professional viability is there. He's got to make it work with this guy.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.